Hello there, I'm Anna Amelia from Northeast Animal Rights. Welcome to another one of our Saturday Spotlight interviews, and we're delighted to welcome along Paul Youde, vegan activist, and also someone who's come to the public eye because of his running activities. So welcome, Paul, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh, it's a real pleasure to see you, to be here, Anna. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. So let's go straight to the questions. The first question which I ask everyone is, could you tell me about your vegan journey, but also how that overlapped with your fitness journey? And how did we know you from, you're very much in the public domain at the moment with the running you're doing. So could you tell me sort of like all about that, please?
Yeah, well, it's ironically, I owe my health, my fitness, and my running to two zoonotic diseases. First of all, I gave up meat to avoid mad cow disease back in the early 2000s, which I found very easy. It was no problem at all. And I'd never taken any interest in animals whatsoever before, but I found myself looking at the dairy industry and the egg industry, and I didn't like what I saw. I thought, this is terrible. I can't be any part of that, so I gave it all up. It took 2 years for all the blinkers to come off. And looking back, the reason I think I became more empathetic because I wasn't eating the consuming the hormones, the stress hormones that are rushing through an animal's body when it's being slaughtered. I wasn't consuming those anymore. I became more empathetic and started looking at the welfare of animals. Yeah, it took. When I went vegan, 2 years took 2 years. All my arthritis disappeared. You see my fingers. I can't make a fist.
Yeah,
They're all gnarled and twisted,
yeah,
and I can't make a fist on either hand.
yeah.
The pain just disappeared. The damage was done, but the pain went. I don't have any pain. I have no arthritis. It just completely vanished.
Mhm.
And I tried to run in my 40s, but I'd stopped because my knees were too sore.
Mhm.
And I didn't think about running again after my arthritis disappeared until I was chasing my grandson just before COVID. And I thought, hang on, my knees are not hurting. And then COVID came along with lockdown. I thought I'll come out of it with a new skill. So I
Mhm.
did a 20-yard track in my back garden and ran around that for 6 months. And then I discovered ultramarathons, and I haven't looked back. They're addictive. You do one, you just want to do more and more. They're just such good fun.
So you've kind of come into the running part of it quite late in the day, haven't you, really? Just
Yeah,
more
I only
recently.
started running when I think I was 82
Yeah.
when I started running. But the reason I dropped into it so well, looking back, is because when I was 79, I decided I raised some money for the local YMCA and the Total Association for the Homeless, and by doing 1,000 press ups in an hour.
Mhm.
And I thought, how do I keep this level of fit? How do I maintain this level of fitness? So I challenged myself to do 1 million press ups between the ages of 80 and 90. I'm up to about 850,000 now. I do 1,000 every 3 days, roughly, and that keeps me on top. I need a challenge. I need something
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make sure I stay on track.
Yeah.
So that's why I was pretty fit when I started. I started on the 28th of March, 2020, and by the end of June, I felt strong enough to do a 10K every day for 10 days to fundraise for a Dean Farm
Oh,
uh,
yeah. Yeah.
animal sanctuary.
Mhm.
And I thought I was going to get more tired as the week went on. Obviously, you're going to get more tired, but no, I got stronger. I finished up doing 110K in the 10 days. And once again, I wanted to see how I could maintain that level of fitness. And somebody suggested on Facebook, why don't you look at ultra marathons? And that's when I got into ultras. And yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of like when he came to our attention actually, because you were doing these, um, and so you're kind of like a public figure, really, kind of especially in the vegan movement as well, and the animal rights movement. So how do you feel about being a role model and the responsibilities which come with that as well? Because obviously we
Well,
get criticised quite a lot for the
to
health part of it.
to be honest, one of my aims is to show what's possible, and I want to show what's possible. As a vegan, I want to be strong and healthy into old age, should I ever get there. And that's my. I want to show people that you can do this.
Yeah,
Not necessarily the ultras, but certainly the health benefits are
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And yeah, so. I set myself a goal to do 100 ultra marathons before my 100th birthday, and with a combination of virtual ones.
Yeah, yeah.
I've set myself. I've joined up to the Silk Road Virtual Challenge, which is 642 kilometers
Mm,
along the Silk Road between. I think it was. I've done it for about a fortnight. It finishes sometime in January,
mm,
but I've got to do about 50k a week, 40, 50k a week to do that, and that makes. I need to get out there to do that. So that gives me the incentive to get out there,
mm,
and combination of ultra marathons and virtual ones. Um, I'll be doing the. I signed up for the Windsor 50k later on this year at Easter, and then I've got the in August I've got 42k walk around London
mm,
with my granddaughter
mm,
and my and her boyfriend. They're
mm.
going, they're coming along, and then in September I've got another 50k along the Thames. So that's the three actual ultras I do a year, and I'll do a couple more virtual ones as well.
So you're a very, very busy, very, very fit man.
Well, another reason for doing this is that when you read about the health benefits, you're driving the blood through your brain all the time.
Yeah,
You're less likely to get Alzheimer's. That's another
yeah, yeah.
incentive as well.
I mean, we're talking about the health part of it, but before we came on air, we were talking about, about speaking up for veganism. So, I mean, one of the things that we say in our group is it's not about not doing something. So, it's not just about not using animals. It's also about advocating for them and speaking up. So,
Of course.
you know, being silent about them is being complicit in the animal use.
Yes,
So, what's your
silence.
kind of opinions on that?
Yeah, silence equals complicity completely. We should all use whatever strengths we have on behalf of the animals.
Mm,
And one of my strengths is walking and getting out there and spreading the message. And everybody could do something, no matter how introverted or whatever your feelings are. You can go online and you can spread the word that way. That's leafleting. Whenever I do a Viva outreach, which I do once a month down in Exeter or in Taunton, I'll collect a load of leaflets and then I'll take the leaflets and I'll drop them into newspapers on the newsstands
yeah.
in a supermarket. So it takes me about 5 minutes to get rid of 30 leaflets.
Mm,
And you do that every time I go to a supermarket, you know. So there's so many ways you can do it without, you don't
yeah.
necessarily have to interact with the public. But I do that and I enjoy talking
Yeah.
to the public. I think
Yeah.
you've got to
So
spread the word in any way you can.
are the security guards not watching out for you? Here he is again with his leaflets.
I do it. There's in Morrison's in Taunton. The security guards is about 10 yards away from where I'm doing it. They don't bother.
Yeah.
They're not bothered about that. You know,
Well, you're putting
if
things
I
in,
was,
you're not taking things out.
yeah, indeed, exactly. Yeah,
You're
I'm
adding
I'm
value.
giving, and that's what that brings me on to something else I want to cover, Anna, is giving. In July last year, I thought there's nothing happening. I've got no ulcers, got nothing planned. What can I do to challenge myself? And I thought, but one of my go-to recipes is a chocolate cake. I can make a chocolate. I can whip up a chocolate cake in 15 minutes got a microwave. And I thought, why don't I take a chocolate cake to 31 care homes in 31 days of July, and 31 cakes, 31 chocolates cakes, 31 care homes. And I did that last year, and this year I did it, or in last July, I did it for 31 different departments in the local hospital. Because first of all, the care home staff are the most unregarded workforce in the country, and I wanted to give them some love, really. And I have a great regard for the NHS, so I thought I'll do that. And the giving, the actual, it was the best month, and I have to tell you, and one of the things I've come to late on in life is that giving, not just giving something actual, but giving of yourself, which you're doing with all your outreach and all your work that you do. Any vegan any vegan activist is giving their time, giving of themselves, and that gives me some peace of mind uh, and happiness. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So changing the subject a little bit. we're going to talk about animal agriculture and the effect on climate breakdown. And we've had COP30, we've had all these different events going on, and we know there's links between climate change and animal agriculture and commercial fishing. So do you want to talk maybe a little bit about your interest in that?
Yeah, well, the two things go hand in hand, though, because if we don't have a planet to hand on for our animals, you know, we don't have a future. Nobody has a future. And if you remove humans from the planet would thrive. We know that. But so yeah, the two go hand in hand. And if you're working towards getting rid of animal agriculture and freeing up land and rewilding, you're also working for veganism as well. But not, it's funny that not everybody who's active on behalf of the planet seems to agree that seems to has gone vegan, and that's a source of disappointment to me, really. I think if you're going to think about the planet, you've got to go vegan. There's no, it's the first step, easiest step.
When I spoke to Jamshed a few months ago, earlier on this year, and he was saying the same thing, that if you're an environmentalist, I mean, there's direct links, so you should be vegan, and I
Yeah.
completely agree with that. I mean, speaking at COP30 and doing a few other things, it is an underlooked area, under there's less focus on it, but I do think that they are getting there. I mean, particularly in our area in Newcastle, they are definitely putting more, a bit more focus on the links between. I mean, for starters, they would never have a vegan stall and they would never have a vegan speaker at their event
Mhm.
before now, and that's not because they were trying to ignore us, but it was just maybe something they hadn't considered. So I feel as if they are definitely getting there, but it does. I mean, I suppose they maybe get frustrated with us when we're using cars and things, but I do think that we would get there a lot quicker if
Yeah.
those people who say they're environmentalists, stop.
I've just
Yeah,
sorry, Anna. I've just joined an organisation called Communities Against Factory Farming,
right. Yeah,
caff.org.uk,
yeah,
who are actively working alongside communities where there's a proposal to set up a factory farm,
right.
and they're working with the communities to stop this,
Mhm,
to protest against it and get letters written protest, and
mhm,
and it's thriving. There's 13, I think, if you go on the website, there's 13 objections that they've put forward at the moment.
mhm.
And they've got lawyers on board. They've got a whole team, not necessarily vegans, but we're working with non-vegans who don't want these factory farms.
Yeah,
So it's a whole organisation that does that.
yeah. So going back to your personal your personal way of being active, like an activist, rather than being an active activist. I don't mean like a healthy activist, but so how do you sort of how do you decide to set your goals? What kind of goals interest you, and kind of how do you fit them into your very busy life, and um, how do you kind of like decide what you're going to do?
Well, as I said, one of my goals is to show people what's possible, is to inspire people and
Yeah,
to get them on board. Um, but for my actual outreach, I go down to Exeter, I go up to Bath.
yeah,
I'm centrally placed in that regard. There's not a lot going on in Taunton, but every now and again we do a Viva outreach.
mhm,
Wherever I can, I go out and I love speaking to people. I've got a leaflet with all my details on it. I should have got it here actually. I'll go and get it in a minute. Um, I, if I when I go down to Exeter or travelling by train anywhere, if I see a group of young lads on the station waiting to go somewhere,
mhm,
I'll go up to them and say, "Hey, you guys, look, fit young group we got here. Any runners amongst you?" And they'll always point to somebody. They'll never say they are, but somebody will
yeah,
point. Say, he's a runner. I say, you ever thought of doing ultramarathons? No, I couldn't do them. You know. Well, well, that I do. And then I go into my spiel about,
yeah,
uh, and I cover all I do my arthritis. Then I talk about the game changers
yeah.
and how they'd be a lot better off if they followed a vegan. And I just do a lot of outreach with them, and they're always very receptive, I find.
Mhm.
It's always great fun.
So of all the things you've done so far, what's your proudest achievement?
Well, the I did 106k around the Isle of Wight a couple of years ago, over 2 days. That was the furthest I've walked. The furthest I've walked on one day was 74k along the Thames path until I fell over. It was 2:30 in the morning. I was sleep deprived. I was hallucinating. I kept thinking there were people next to me and there weren't. I kept looking. I thought there's two people. No, there isn't. There's nobody there. And eventually, as I said, at 2:30, I went down and I was immediately surrounded by love. That's the beauty
Yeah.
of these ultras. They're just, everybody wants to help you. And I was put in touch with a medic at the next rest stop, and he said, "Can you sit up, Paul?" I said, "I'll try." And immediately, this young woman, I found out her name was Natalie. She sat down on the path and put her knees up so that I could lean against them.
Wow.
Uh, yeah. And then he said, "Can you stand up?" And I said, "I'll try." And this guy, Rich, a Welsh guy, a funny Welsh guy, he said, "You hang on to me, mate." And I hung on to him for about 20 minutes. And I found out later on he was going for a time. He had
Wow.
an actual time, but he didn't care. Somebody wanted help, and they were happy to give it. So
Just love, yeah.
it's a
Just love,
lovely
yeah.
community. It really
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
We see that up here with the Great North Run. I mean, that's a half marathon which kind of like runs quite close to where we live. And you see
Uh-huh.
them, the slower runners at the end getting helped along by people who they've never met before, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's just
yeah,
helping them
yeah.
along to get to the finish line. And it's lovely. It's lovely being at the
Yeah,
finish line and seeing
every,
all that.
yeah, everybody's got a goal. Everybody wants you to achieve
Yeah,
that goal.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
The
who would
thing
you,
about, sorry,
no, no, go
you've,
on, go
you,
on.
no, you've reminded me of a guy called David Goggins.
Uh-huh.
Uh, have you heard of David Goggins? He's
Don't
probably
think
the
so.
fittest man around. He's done the SEAL training in the US three times because of
Mm,
injuries and that. And he comes out with these mantras. He says, when you think you're done, you're absolutely spent, you've got nothing left,
mm,
you've only used 40% of your resources.
right.
And if you look at it, you're talking about your ultramarathon, your marathon there, and people struggling a bit. When they get near the tape, they lift themselves up and try and,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
always
Stick
something
the
there.
chest out and smile for the camera.
Indeed, exactly. And
Yeah.
so I always, when I'm doing my ultras, I always try and sprint the last 25. We walk them all, but I try and
Mm.
sprint the last 25 yards just to show what a vegan can do. And I also, at any rest stop, I'll drop down and do 25 press ups, just to show people that this is a vegan.
Yeah.
This
So
is
do you,
what
you
you can
wear the
do.
vegan t-shirt then? You'll have
Yeah,
it.
I always do. Well,
Yeah.
it's a Viva runner,
Viva Runner one. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then vegan runner
Yeah.
underneath that. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I'm gonna ask you, when we do the Great North Run up here, we watch out for the vegan runners and shout, "Well done,
Yeah,
vegan runner!"
yeah.
Like this is mad woman shouting, shouting from the
Yeah,
corner.
no, it's great encouragement. It really
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
so you talked about this guy, but which other people inspire you?
Well, there's a guy called Mike Fremont,
Hmm.
a 103-year-old vegan who went vegan at 69 because he had stage 4 cancer.
Right.
He went vegan and got rid of his cancer,
Right.
and he's done a lot of running. He holds some age world records. He's
Hmm.
103. He's got his own canoe. He does 25 pull-ups every day. He does a 5K a couple of times a week, and he's just bought himself a new pair of running shoes. That's 103. So he inspires me. He said, "Well, I've got no excuse." And there's one. Have you heard of Fiona Oakes?
Yeah. Yeah.
She runs the Tower Stables
Mhm.
Sanctuary, and she's a brilliant runner. She's got records on every continent,
Mhm.
and she lost a kneecap when she was about 6
Right.
with an accident, and whenever she runs, she's in pain.
Right.
But she does it because she's fundraising for the animals. The animals are her overriding concern. And I think, what excuse have I got? I don't have any excuses.
Yeah.
So they're the people who inspire me and keep me going.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier on about the press ups and how you challenge yourself. So, if I mean, people are looking for New Year's resolutions, for example, how would you advise them to go around like a press up challenge, which would kind of like work for them? Because I'm absolutely hopeless. I mean, I've got like little spaghetti arms. I mean, I'd be no good at it. So, how would you advise me if I wanted to do a press up challenge? How would I do that?
Right. I'd first of all advise you to lie on the ground, face down, with
Mhm.
your arms stretched, your arms by your side, and then see, push up.
Yeah.
And it might only be an inch the first day, 2 inches, then eventually you'll be able to start to come up
Yeah.
and into a full position. Then you can go down and just start off with two or three a day,
Yeah,
and
just
just add every week add a couple more.
yeah. I don't think I'm
That's
going to
how
get
I
to
got into it.
your million before, I'm not going to get that.
Well, I have to level with you, but I do sets of 100,
Yeah,
but the first 70 are quick and shallow. I
yeah,
have to admit,
yeah.
but the last 30 I put some effort into. So by the time I've done 1,000, I've done 300 reasonably decent press ups. So
Uh,
one of my proudest moments. Have you heard of Dr. Minel Patel?
no, I don't think so.
He was also. Have you seen the film I Could Never Go Vegan?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, I was in that one,
Yes, yes, I know. Yeah,
and
yeah.
so was Dr. Patel,
Ah, right. I don't
and
remember, but yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah,
yeah, he's
I'm
a
familiar with it.
bodybuilder of some repute,
Yeah.
and at Vegan Camp Out this year, he was showing his muscles off or something. I said, "Well, look, what about mine?" I showed him my bicep, and he pointed to it and said, "Wow, that was one of my proudest moments."
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Some another athlete sort of like appreciating what you were doing. It's brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, and Vegan Camp Out is a brilliant. Have you been,
Yeah,
Anna?
yeah, we have. Yeah,
They, they, it's
fantastic.
just gorgeous. I can't wait for next year now. I went to my first festival when I was 87.
So you've got a lot of firsts and a lot of you've got so much energy and life in you. It's just absolutely amazing. We
Well,
we're coming to the end of our time together now. I mean, it's been absolutely fascinating, and I know we could talk for a long, long time. But I'm gonna let you get on with your very busy day, and maybe
well,
do.
I've got a couple more things I just want
Yeah, sure,
to
yeah.
run past you, Anna. One is whenever I ask myself, "Am I doing enough for the animals?" The answer is always no.
Right, yeah, yeah,
I could do more.
yeah.
And what I would like to do, one of my goals, one of my aims, is to increase the amount of well-being in the world.
Right, yeah.
So that's one of my aims. And yeah,
Yeah, I think you're right with the well-being. I mean, particularly with activists as well, it's really important that we look after ourselves and look after each other because it can be very, very grim. I mean, when you're doing vigils and you're doing outreach with people who don't necessarily want to hear your message, you're right. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, so more power to you with that. I mean, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's really good. So we're going to sign off now. But thank you very
Okay.
much for your time. This is Anna Amelia from Northeast Animal Rights saying a huge, huge thank you to Paul Youde for giving this time today.
Well, thank you, Anna. It's been lovely talking to you. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.